Arvada police offer the suggested motive of the man who killed their officer in Old Town this week, and they say the citizen who intervened, losing his own life, prevented far more deaths. We'll have everything we know about both of those men and the shooter, whose name was released tonight. A familiar face is coming back to Colorado with plans to take over operations at the airport. But first, Marshall has some questions about what happened in his last job. A huge outdoor concert in the high country has everything it needs except permission to happen. Today, community leaders learned how many tickets had been sold without their go-ahead.
6,000? You kidding me?
You know what you not, because this is next. Arvada police are offering up the first and for now the only explanation for the shooting in Old Town yesterday. They say the shooter who killed their officer was motivated by a personal hatred of police. They did not offer evidence for that claim. As word spread in town that it was Officer Gordon Beasley who was killed, so many people have come forward with stories about how he had improved their community and their lives. We'll hear directly from a young man who had a remarkable bond with Officer Beasley in just a moment. The officer was normally at Oberon Middle School, but during the summer volunteered to work patrol in Old Town, according to the chief today, who said that his officer was ambushed specifically because he wore the badge. Police today also named the man that they had previously just called a Good Samaritan. They said that it was 40-year-old John Hurley from Golden who tried to intervene and who, in doing so, prevented a larger loss of life. They would not say what he specifically did. The coroner identified the suspected shooter late this afternoon. 59-year-old Richard Troike also died in the shootout. There were dozens of law enforcement officers at Troike's address south of Old Town at 52nd and Allison in the hours just after the shooting. The suspected shooter does not have a recent criminal history in Colorado that we could find, just a misdemeanor assault charge from 1992. Without offering specifics, Arvada's police chief said today that the community needs to understand the risks taken by its officers.
We are hurt and troubled, but most importantly, we are committed to the protection of this community, our community, that we all love, and to honor Officer Gordon Beasley and Mr. Hurley.
Police have offered few details about that exchange of fire in the middle of the busy commercial area with stores and restaurants, but we do know that at least one officer fired their gun yesterday because there's an outside investigations team looking into that. Officer Gordon Beasley was the officer that a lot of people in Arvada knew. To one young man there, he was like a dad, twice a week, riding his bike to Oberon Middle School with a couple of students who really needed a friend. A simple gesture, so kind that we shared a story about it 6 years ago here. Mark Salinger today spoke to that former student, remembering the officer who cared for him.
The flowers, the balloons, the notes. They tell a story of a man who was respected.
Brave officer that gave his life.
But to understand how much he was loved, take a ride down the bike path in Arvada until you find a tree with a lone American flag and a story about Officer Gordon Beasley.
It's a good way to start the day, kind of wakes you up.
Back in 2015, Steve Stater shared a glimpse into Officer Beasley's life, riding bikes to school every week with a special needs student and his friend who couldn't do it alone.
For about 2 years now.
How you doing?
Micah and his pal Blaze
Ready for your big debut?
have been riding to Oberon Middle School.
Nice sunrise, huh?
Yeah.
With a police escort.
Ready to go up that hill?
The city of Arvada was so inspired by their friendship, they named Beasley Employee of the Year. In his honor, they planted a tree, a red oak.
I just asked for one that'll be a good climbing tree, and I figure by the time I can retire, I can probably climb it.
Yesterday, Micah heard the news about what happened to his police escort.
He was a friend, family.
Officer Beasley was killed by a man with a gun in Old Town Arvada Monday. It still hasn't sunk in yet for Micah's mom, Brandy.
And he was our family. We became family.
6 years ago, Micah struggled with independence. The bike rides with Officer Beasley inspired him to grow and make friends. And now, at age 20, ride his bike around his new home in Wyoming all by himself.
He doesn't need any help. So when Officer Beasley is the one that did that for him.
Officer Beasley won't be able to climb the red oak tree. Now that Micah lives in his own place, he wants to plant one too.
I would like to find that tree, the same kind, and plant it in my yard to remember him.
Even with Officer Beasley gone, the red oaks will keep growing.
And maybe when I retire, I can claim it.
And Micah will climb them for him. Micah says that Officer Beasley was like a father figure to him, teaching him about independence with every bike ride that they went on. Again, Officer Beasley was the school resource officer at Oberon Middle School, where Micah went to school. Kyle.
What a conversation today, Mark. I know that the memorial is growing in front of the police station, and I imagine that after seeing this story or remembering the old one, some folks might want to go by that tree along the bike path. But Arvada is hoping that folks will bring any notes or flags or anything else to the police station.
Yeah, there's memorials at the police station. There's another one here in Old Town Arvada, near where the shooting happened. And the city hopes to keep the bike path clear. They hope to keep the greenway and the tree area clear of any of the mementos that people are dropping off, and hoping that most people who want to come show their support do so at one of these memorials around town.
Remember that story from years ago? I did not know until last night. One of Officer Beasley's former colleagues at Arvada PD told us, you know what? We only found out that he was doing that and could tell you at 9 News because the school secretary called his supervisor. He did it for something like 2 years, gave Mike a bike, rode with him twice a week, didn't say anything about it for 2 years until somebody else called and told his boss. That tells you everything you need to know. Mark, thank you for that story. Before Phil Washington's name goes on the big office out at the airport, it appears in 2 other places. On this week's Denver City Council agenda and on a search warrant out of Los Angeles, where investigators have some questions about what happened at Washington's former transit agency in LA. Before Washington, who used to run RTD here, gets questioned by City Council this week, our Marshall Zellinger had some questions of his own.
I am not under investigation at all. There is a review that is going on, but not under investigation.
Phil Washington is Denver Mayor Michael Hancock's pick to be the new head of DIA. Last week, we explained how his name appears in a search warrant for email and communications between him and others from his time leading LA Metro, when that transit agency picked a nonprofit to run a sexual harassment hotline.
I don't think there's any validity at all to this case. We procured the contract legally and within the procedures of Los Angeles Metro.
Washington would be making a return to Colorado. He led RTD through Fast Tracks, the voter-approved sales tax that built light rail and commuter rail around the metro area, but has yet to provide the rail line promised to Longmont. Similar to how the DIA Great Hall renovation will only be able to afford moving one security checkpoint, not both, from where it is today to where ticketing counters will no longer be needed on the 6th floor.
Can you fulfill the original idea of the Great Hall plan?
I'm going to sure try. I think it has to be the top priority, not just for the region, but for the airlines and for aviation in this country, that DEN be very, very functional and the Great Hall project be completed.
Looking beyond the Great Hall construction, Washington wants to make DIA a place that people consider when they ask, what should we do tonight?
I would love to make the airport a destination. We did the same thing with Union Station. It is a destination. I mean, when I was a kid, it was a day out when my mother used to take all of us to the airport to watch the planes take off. We want to do that again. Airports, we want to get young people, especially young people of color, involved in the aviation industry and get them engaged. And the way to do that, I think, is to bring them to the airport as a destination. Talk to them about aviation, talk to them about airplanes, talk to them about how to run an airport.
So people will hear that and they'll be like, well, I'm running late to the airport. I'm fighting traffic with people who are just going there to play around.
Yeah, that's all right. Take the train.
Should Denver City Council approve Washington's appointment as CEO, it might not be any longer than a 2-year job. Mayor Michael Hancock is term limited in 2023, so the next mayor may not want Washington. Right now on 9news.com, how Washington says his plans could live beyond that 2 years.
he still got me laughing on that "take the train" line. Like that's a perfect line, and the man is relentlessly on message. So Marshall, it strikes me, because of the fact that this investigation in Los Angeles is just getting rolling now, that a lot of this is going to be, can Phil Washington establish trust with City Council? He clearly has the trust of Mayor Hancock, but can he establish that trust not knowing what this investigation is going to churn up? He at least has the history in Colorado for people to reference.
You know, the one thing I didn't talk with him about that would be kind of telling about this is the trust that you talk about could be the division that City Council already has with the mayor. You've got the friendly council members to the mayor and the ones that aren't so friendly. And will that just be the same thing that we see with the questioning of this nominee?
Yeah, the mayor vouching for you goes a long way with some members of council, and, you know, that and a buck will get you a coffee from some other members of council. All right, Marshall, thank you very much. Colorado is now sending out glossy political mailer type reminders about the state's COVID vaccine sweepstakes. That's the one that showed up at my house. There are 2 $1 million drawings left. Safe to say the winners won't be paid in the gold coins featured on the mailer. I thought that was legitimately like an ad for the lottery that appeared in my mailbox. You have been asking a good number of questions about taxes on the sweepstakes winning. The state says it's going to be taxed like lottery prizes, so state and federal income tax will be withheld. If you owe the state any money, they will take their cut before they give you the rest of the mill. So people are going to be paying at least 24% in federal taxes and 4+% in state taxes. Colorado's orphaned oil and gas wells are a cleanup hassle for neighbors and for environmentalists. Democratic Senator Michael Benz trying to get some federal money to deal with them and to offer more control to local governments. State regulators say there are more than 200 of those orphaned wells in Colorado. They aren't producing right now, so they either need to be plugged or reclaimed. And they're called orphaned because the company that once ran them and was going to be responsible for them, long gone, likely out of business. Bennett's bill suggests that the cleanup process might also be an opportunity to create some jobs.
The big concert promoter steamrolling a small county in the high country is leaving a mark.
This has damaged our people's faith in local government.
They've been selling tickets to a huge show without getting permission to hold it. And the tale of two Colorados, why one side of the divide is so much drier than the other. Next.
So we still don't know if Chaffee County commissioners are going to allow that big Seven Peaks Country Music Festival to happen this September. Thousands of tickets have already been sold by a concert promoter that assumes that the county is not going to tell them no at this point. And if they do, the fine print on the ticket says it's the ticket buyers who are on the hook. Today's hearing over the festival's special event permit went so long they're going to schedule another meeting. This is a Live Nation event. They've already started selling tickets, just approval be damned. Chaffee County has a 5,000 person limit for big events like this during the pandemic. Live Nation just shrugged it off.
How many tickets have you sold so far?
A little over 6,000, 1,300 local, 1,300 in.
6,000? Are you me? You know we have a 5,000 person event capacity and you've already sold more tickets than that?
Yes.
What the hell, Jim?
What the hell, Jim? Commissioners have not made a final decision on this. Public comment on the festival occupied much of the afternoon. Live Nation spokesperson at the meeting also told county leaders they're not really interested in one of those festivals where people would have to prove they're vaccinated. The county's public health director said she'd feel more comfortable with a vaccinated event.
Well, after a brief break from the heat, we're right back at it again in the mid-90s today with lots of sunshine. A couple of rogue little showers coming off the foothills. If you're lucky enough to capture that rain, enjoy it. It's not going to last long. Our high today, 93. The record was 102, so we are not in record territory, but 10 degrees above average, and we'll go even warmer tomorrow. There's a little moisture coming in underneath the ridge for a couple of high-base storms in the afternoon, but no real relief until Thursday and Friday. We're seeing increase in cloud cover across the western slope with thunderstorms that have lightning and wind. Not a good scenario with the red flag warning in place. Partly cloudy, 62 tonight. Tomorrow, sunshine and 96. Smoke and haze a part of our forecast. A little cooler Thursday and then 70s with showers on Friday afternoon.
You've heard us talk about the drought divide. Western Colorado's in a hardened drought, while east of the Continental Divide, far better shape with water this year. Meteorologist Chris Bianchi explains why it feels like a tale of two different states.
In order for the mountains to get big snow or even big time rain during the spring and early summer months, this is normally our setup. We'll get a big area low pressure come on in from the west that brings us lots of Pacific moisture and leads to, again, lots of rain and snow for the mountains. But we just did not get that. What we got this spring was this. Upslope flow, a term you probably heard a whole lot of during the March, April, and May months, which means we get an area low pressure coming in from the south that transports Gulf of Mexico moisture, and it condenses into lots of snow during the March and April months and lots of rain during April, May, and early June for the Front Range. And the result, unfortunately, is this: one state and two completely different drought situations.
They have no idea who he is. They'll never forget his help yesterday afternoon in Arvada.
There is a light and there are good people, and he's one of them.
Gratitude for a good neighbor when they needed one most. Next.
They will never forget his face. They don't know his name, just that he helped them yesterday in Old Town Arvada in a telling, terrifying moment. And they know that telling his story here might be the best hope that he would ever hear their gratitude.
I feel very heavy-hearted today. It's a sobering day to know that this is happening in your community. So yesterday, Mom had asked me for a ride to go to Community Bank. We got out of the car. Mom and I were the only two in the parking lot. There was no one else around. A gentleman purposely came into the parking lot and he said, "You've got to get out of here." He said, "Please get in your car and go." He said, "There's an active shooting happening right now." As we got into the car, we actually heard 3 gunshots, pop, pop, pop. He was stopping drivers. He was saying, "Don't drive into Old Town. There's an active shooter. Get out, turn around, get away."
I think I was in shock, and it really didn't hit me until today, the gravity of it all.
And he didn't have to do that.
No, he did not, and we want to thank him and wish we could find him and find out who he is.
I guess in all the darkness of what's happened in the last 24 hours or so, I just want people to know that there is a light and there are good people, and he's one of them.
Thanks to photojournalist Foster Gaines for that story. Your feedback shows us the best and worst of humanity. Next. The most Colorado thing we saw today is a whole plateful of wholesomeness. Robert and Kathy celebrated their 50th anniversary Saturday. Robert said he bought this license plate on eBay a few weeks ago as a way to mark the occasion. He said, quote, "It's like a 50-year marriage. Dents, bends, pits, and scratches. Just a little brief perspective on life and love from a couple that has 50 years in their rear view." Feedback's often the worst of humanity. Tonight you demonstrate the best. Catherine wrote in to say that she would like to buy that tree for Micah's yard. Said he's an amazing young man. We'll get you connected. And Tim on Twitter says, does John Hurley's family, the Good Samaritan, do they have a way to have their expenses taken care of? Been making a lot of calls on that. We're trying to get firm answers with organizations that we feel comfortable recommending for you. Hope to have it all put together by tomorrow. See you next time.